Join in a second. I clicked, and now we are live. Hello, everyone. It's good to be here.
Hello.
And I'm going to introduce Disha in 1 minute to kind of get you guys into the game and really understand who is with us. And first, as we're getting on board with today's broadcast, happy Friday to everyone. Oh, we have another guest that is just joining us. So let me add Nicole also to the stream. And I'm going to introduce both Disha and Nicole in a minute. But for now, I just want to kind of make sure that people are starting to join us, that we're actually going live in the different places. So let's make sure that we are going live, and we are perfect. So if you're joining us from the different channels, please let us know where you're from and what have you been working on this week. Really, let's try and kind of see what was your focus and did you actually make it happen. So make sure that you click the StreamYard link to so that we can get your name and even pull your name on the screen and just have a conversation with us. We have a very interesting topic to discuss today, which is client red flags, what to look out for when evaluating potential clients. And this is could be a sore subject for a lot of us, but it's definitely something that needs to be discussed. So that we can make sure that when we are approaching those different projects, we're doing this properly and we have the right people or the right clients to work with, really. So before we dive into the content itself, I would like to introduce both Disha and Nicole. How about we start with Nicole, because Disha has a little pitch for us to talk about in a minute. So how are you, Nicole? Oh, you're muted. You need to unmute yourself there.
Vito, thank you so much for inviting me today. Sorry I was a tiny bit late. I had to get some coffee. Carl is there as well. Hey, Carl. So yes, I'm Nicole. I'm a marketing coach for digital agency owners. And I'm so excited that I've started working with you and the team. You know, talking about client red flags, I think we've all come across them. It's so important that we know, is this the right company or the right person for us to work with us. So I'm really excited to be here today and to see what you got to teach us.
That's awesome. Well, we're all going to be discussing this together, and hopefully we can even get some feedback from the people that are watching to say what are their red flags really when they're evaluating different clients. But we're kind of did our research and brought in our personal experience as well to make a bit of a list of things to watch out for. And of course, I would be happy to hear what you have to say about these items as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Carl that's joining us here from Facebook. Carl, how about you tell us what are your red flags? What is your red line, really? What do you hear on an email or when you're talking to a client that gets you to say like, no freaking way, I'm not stepping in that. So let's see if we can get Kyle to kind of interact with us on this one a little bit. And as we're going to the main training, I just want to, we're going to go back to here. And I want to first introduce you to our new community manager, Disha. How are you doing, Disha?
Hello, I'm so excited. This is my first live with Atarim. I hope it's going to be a constant thing. I'm going to showing up again and again in all the lives. It's very good to meet you, everyone. I hope people are joining. More people will be joining us, hopefully. And we'll be discussing a very interesting topic today, which we have faced. I'm sure we all have faced client red flags, and we have faced situations where we don't even know it's a red flag, but it should be a red flag. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. So Disha, as the new community manager, we discussed about this this week about making some changes to our Facebook group and how we can actually take this to the next level, especially now that we've celebrated the more than 2,000 members in the group. So like even on the training that we did last week, we talked about building a community and how important it is to evolve over time and to make sure that the vision and the purpose of the community is always there. So I'm just going to go over to the next slide and give you the stage, Disha, to kind of introduce what are the changes, what's going on.
Yes. So there are big changes coming into the community we have already, and I'm gonna just run over briefly to just get to just give an idea about what are the main points that are going to be changing. So as we have seen that we have an already amazing community of so many people. There are 2,000 members already. So the first change that we are going to introducing is that the community platform on Facebook is not just going to be support for current users, but it's going to be more centered around a real community where we are sharing each other's interest and sharing each other's daily life experiences with how's their business going or how are their projects going, and we are centered on more about nurturing each other, sharing each other's insights of how to do about a problem, or if someone comes up with a problem, how we are gonna support each other. So basically the community is going to be more focused on helping each other and growing together as a community of freelancers and agency owners, rather than being a support for the platform, being a support group for users of Atarim. So that is the first change that we are introducing. And
this is something that we wanted to do really from day one. The purpose
yes.
of the group was to try and make sure that we have a group of professionals really that just interact with each other, and as you're saying, Disha, grows together. But since we have a technical product, a lot of times it just steers over to the support side. But really, we have amazing channels for support. There's live chat right on the website, so you can just dive in there, and we're going to help you straight away. And you can reach out to us at support@atarim.io for email support as well. So we can keep the community clean for announcements and for the stuff that Disha is telling us about. Not so much around really the technical per use case really support.
Exactly. For the support for the platform, we already have a lot of channels. We have the emails and live support, everything. But this community, we are gonna build into more like a sort of personal community where we are sharing our not only problems and issues, but also achievements and goals and our focuses, what were our wins, or what we are looking forward to our business or as web designers or freelancers in general. Or it doesn't also have to be about like web building in particular, not like you're sharing only about websites, but about life in general. Like make it a healthy, nurturing ecosystem where you're feeling sad or you're feeling kind of like down. You're just reaching out to a community where we are mutually there for each other virtually. You know, that's the idea. Hopefully you're gonna all collaborate.
Yes. Well, we're gonna force it really.
We are gonna hammer it, and then it's gonna flow.
Yes, exactly. This week I saw something that was great that was written by Patrick from GridPain, and he said that one of the biggest things in building a brand or in business in general is to just show up again and again and again and again every single day. After 1,000 days, the ones that kind of discouraged you or the ones that kind of wrote you off, they are going to be your best, the best fans and the best supporters. So we're already showing up for more than 2 years. We still have a few more years until we get to the 1,000 days. But still, I think that this is really the right path or the right change for our community as it grows and as we can take it to the next level. So I can see that, Nicole, you're also interacting on Facebook while we're here. I have a double Nicole here on the screen. So,
I didn't know I was going to join you guys live. Obviously, I'm absolutely delighted. Do you know, Vita, when I saw your post about where you further enhanced the description of a Facebook group, I thought it's brilliant because we are all people and we're all working remotely. And you know, sometimes we miss the kind of famous water cooler moments or just being able to say hello to someone and perhaps post a funny GIF. So I'm really excited that you're taking the community to that. And Carl and I, we were having a chat earlier. Carl is here today, and we were both discussing whether you're going to be cutting your hair soon. Not when we asked you to. That's why I was giggling away and saying hello to Carl.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Many people have tried before, you know.
So sorry, that's what I'm slightly giggling away in the background. It's so nice. Carl is here and Kevin is here as well.
Yes, it's good to see you, Carl. Good to see you, Kevin. We have few people. We have a Facebook user that is also with us. We don't know who that is, so please click the URL in there so that we can see everyone and just greet you. And Carl is enjoying the banter here. So let's dive straight into today's topic: client red flags. What to look out for when evaluating potential clients. And really, actually, before we do that, I have just one announcement that we just released yesterday. We released version 2.0.8 of the Atarim platform. So please go ahead and update within all of your websites. Really what we have now, but of course, just for good practices, always when you're performing updates, do it in a safe environment, not on a live website, just to make sure that everything is running smoothly. If you need us, we're here for you. Just a few highlights from this latest update. Let me see if I even have it here. I do have it here. So we released, well, first of all, we sped up the platform by 80%. So whatever experience that you had before, now it's 80% faster. And this is step 2 out of 3 steps that we're doing when it comes to speed optimization after our migration to the cloud interface. So even more to come. And then another cool thing that we introduced this week is multi-site compatibility. So if you're running sub-sites, you're going to have all of your different sub-sites shown inside the agency dashboard. And finally, well, these are just the highlights. There's a few more things. One cool feature that we introduced is the manual sync, where you can really click a button and sync the website. Let's see that. I think it's going to just take over the screen. Yeah. So I don't know if people can hear me now, but really when you're clicking this button, it's going to show, it's just going to sync the website, pull in all of the information from the different, from the website itself. So and regenerate the website image so that you have everything nice and tidy within your agency dashboard. So this was the manual sync feature that we just introduced. And now let's dive into the training. So starting with what we look out for. So Nicole, how about you take this screen and introduce us to the points here?
Sure. So first of all, no interest in your process. So if a client's starting trying to evade your process from day one, how do you think it's going to be like working with them a few months into the project? So let's say if one of your first steps is to ask them to fill out a form, to help you scope out the project and just share the contact details and explain to you who are the most relevant people in the company. And if they're not doing that, that is a huge red flag, right? Because particularly when as an agency, you work with a bigger company, you know they're going to have perhaps like a sign-off committee, perhaps a sales director or finance director who also has to see that. And you need to know upfront, right? So that's a huge red flag. Now, next one, belittling your effort and involvement. So if a client is belittling your work, telling you what to do and how they want to do everything done, not realizing that they hired you because you are the expert, not them, that's such a huge red flag, right? Because often clients think they know what they want, but actually you as the agency expert, you know what they need. You know what works in a website environment for the user experience, for the site speed, for making it searchable. That's not the client's expertise, right? And this is why I hired you. So if you have like a busybody who micromanages straight away, you're like, ooh, it's a huge red flag. But, right, I can see you nodding then, Vito.
Well, I agree 100%. And I think that really it's our responsibility to become the alpha of these relationships when we're dealing with different clients. And the reason for that is not just because, like any kind of like ego trip of I want to be in charge. It just comes from the place that from your experience, you should be the one that is leading the person. You are the coach of the process itself. And so really understanding from the beginning that they have no interest in the process, then you know that you're going to be lagging on the content delivery. You're going to be lagging on the design approvals. All of these things that sometimes we need the client's collaboration for are just going to be like completely out of whack, really. And when it comes to belittling the efforts and involvement, if there is no appreciation, there is no joy to the work, really. If you're doing something and everyone is just kind of like telling you that yeah, fine, that's your job anyway, you should have been doing that. And we actually had a client like that it ended up in court, really, eventually, after a couple of years of them belittling my effort and our client and our team members' efforts. And even though we're doing loads and loads of work for them for thousands and thousands of pounds every single month, we never felt that they really appreciate what we're doing. It always came as like kind of like a battle. I failed to recognize this at the right point. And the proof was in the fact that eventually when I decided I can't take it anymore, they were like they pulled up their basically fake disapproval of the stuff that we were doing, because they were enjoying the stuff. The company grew a few x-fold in the few years that we were working together, ours and theirs, but everything was just a struggle. And so they pulled that up, and eventually I won the case in court, but it had to go there, just to get the money that we were owed for the work that we were doing. So from the beginning, you don't even want to get to those places. You just want to make sure that you're working with people that build you up as you're building them up, and that you guys are working together instead of butting heads all the time.
Because it's that true relationship, isn't it? It's not just creating a website, but it's making the website into that leads generating vehicle for them. And that doesn't stop the moment the website goes live. So if at the beginning you're struggling with them, it's going to continue like that. And it takes so much headspace. And Vito, you were so diplomatic there, but I could imagine it's probably caused you sleepless nights. It's meant that you couldn't really focus on all the other things you needed to do for working on Atarim. So it must have felt so good winning that case and getting rid of that emotional baggage, right?
Oh yeah, winning the case was just like a huge sigh of relief. And just because I knew that we were in the right from the beginning, and the guy was just he was just there to poison any good part of work that we were doing. So really, we want to work only with people that are positive in nature, I would even say.
Right, that's the ideal case now, and we can trust our gut feeling. But another pointer, I haven't covered this one before, right? The client tries to run the show. I haven't touched on that, right? No, I don't think so. Okay, thank you. So this is kind of really self-explanatory. So the client who's trying to run the show will have a sense of entitlement, thinking that they know the best way for things to be done because it's their project. That's really tricky, isn't it? Because you kind of need to get them on board and get them to do the things you need them to deliver, but the best order of doing things. Funny enough, I just had this conversation with Carl 2 hours ago. And we were talking about, it's a bit like when you, let's imagine we have a lot of money. I don't, Carl doesn't. But let's say we get a house built, Carl is just saying clients that grind you down little by little. Absolutely. So imagine you're getting a house built, and there is a stage when your architect would probably show you the plan of a house, right? Let's say it's going to be semi-detached, 2 floors. Now, that's the stage when the client can say, well, actually, you know what? I thought this was going to be 3 floors, and I thought the front door is going to be here, and the window is going to be moved. And that's when it's quite feasible to make those changes. Now, imagine you've already gone ahead and you've built the foundations of the house. So any change, like moving where the door is, or how large the windows are, or moving an internal wall, is really expensive. And when you have a client running the show, not going by your guidelines as in what time they can give you what kind of specific feedback, that's really tough. And without turning this into a plaque, that's where the Atarim system comes in, because it really guides the process for the client, and it makes it much easier in a way as an agency owner to show that authority and to guide the client, because having been on the client side and having guided clients to working with their agency, they want guidance. They want it to be easy for them. So definitely, if someone already tries to run the show and doesn't even give you time to explain the way it works, huge red flag.
Yes, and I would say that again, you just want to pull this to your side, and I think that this is really our responsibility to take that, and to not let the client run the show, even if it happens. And really, the reasons usually why this kind of scenario comes into play, even if it's an existing client. So if you find this in the beginning, you don't want to get into this bed anyway. But sometimes this even happens with existing customers that have been with you for a while, and then you start seeing that they're taking more and more and more charge out of the relationship. And the reason why this is happening is because they are not giving the proper process, they are not giving the structure to follow. And if someone doesn't have something to follow, they will start leading. Clients are business owners, they are leaders in nature. So they are used to telling people what to do. They're used to executing stuff on their own when they need to. If they are good business people, right? Some don't, but that's why it comes so naturally for some clients to just say like, all right, I can't see how this is gonna happen, so let's do it like this, ABC. And really, it's the consultants and our responsibility as agency owners, freelancers, to take that charge. And Disha, did you have any experience doing that? Because I know that you were a freelancer before you joined us, so you've probably seen some of these red flags yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when you are a freelancer, especially when you're early in your career, you're always looking out for opportunities, and you don't really have the proper time to set some guidelines for yourself as a provider of some sort of service. I'm talking about when you're early in your career. So you go on looking for work, basically, not like your work comes to your client, but the use of the term client when you're early in your career is not really like applicable. Rather, you look for a work as a freelancer, and that's when everything gets into the way, when you really feel like, yes, they are our bosses, and you have to really be submissive to them, even though you are the subject matter expert. But then, since you're early in your career and you're just entering the industry, you don't know to set your boundaries. You don't know to how to stand up for yourself while you provide your services. So basically, your client tries to run the show, but like from overall, you are the one who is supposed to run the show, and the client is supposed to collaborate with you, because at the end of the day, it's a teamwork rather than like boss and employee kind of like a old-fashioned, old school concept of how to do a project, with someone is bossing you over, like looking from the top. But I think it should be more of a teamwork where everyone is working together and approving and also disapproving if you don't like it, but in a very like positive way. The energy should be balanced. Yeah. So to look for the red flags when you're early in your career is a great thing to learn, because when you're already established as a business or an agency, you have the choice to more or less go to the court, settle a matter in a more professional way. But when you are just like a newbie, you actually, for me, I think you have to learn how to set your boundaries from day one, because that's how you grow personally, rather than learning how to look for red flags at the end, because that's when it's going to be more difficult for you as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I love the fact that like you were mentioning about the people that they're starting off, because really at
Mhm.
the beginning, and I was the same way as well. You know, you just need the work really more than that.
Yeah.
You just want work, and you need something to do.
Mhm.
So you compromise on a lot of things that
Mhm.
become that just create problems and create challenges
Yeah.
further down the line. So I'm
Mhm.
not saying to everyone, just like say no to everything until you find the perfect client. It's very hard to find the perfect clients, and
Mhm.
sometimes you have to walk through the mud a little bit
Mhm.
to get to where you want to get to. But still, just being aware of a few points that
Mhm.
when you see them, you can correct course even. Even if you're starting off, and it just I'm hoping even that some of these points are going to empower
Mhm.
some of the team, some of the people that are watching, to identify this one or two clients that are doing this to you right now,
Mhm.
and to see how you can actually steer the ship back to where you are in charge, you are in control of that relationship.
Exactly, and you in the process you get like several examples of, like, for example, in my case, when I was really starting as a virtual assistant like a year ago, it's really weird because there was one client who had this really good project and really like interesting project, but then one of the red flags, which is really weird, you're gonna face it all the time, weird red flags, was that whenever I got in a Zoom call, it was always like there was no face. The client didn't show her face. I'm like, when am I gonna see her face? Her camera is always off. She's always like, it's something or the other. The client is never showing her face. I'm like, what is wrong with you? That this is also a red flag. Maybe they are not a legit business, or you never know what's gonna happen. So these
Right.
small things are also a thing to look into.
I think we can definitely add this one into the interesting, and I do this as well when I'm recruiting as well, and when I'm doing
Hmm.
interviews. If people jump on the call and they have no camera on, uh,
Hmm.
then first of all, it's already kind of like puts me down a little bit. And, you can't really
Exactly.
make a connection with a person if you
You
can't
don't
see.
have a face. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually learned this from my wife. She's a recruitment manager for a tech company, and she has this one sentence that is great. And I use it all the time. It's like, I can hear you, but I can't see you yet. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So then everything comes out. Yeah, I don't have a camera. Who doesn't have a camera?
Oh, everyone has a camera. Yeah.
So yeah, red flag.
Hey, do you know, just one thing to the amazing list Disha just had? I would definitely encourage people to start a list of things themselves, what to look out for. We always have like a list of our great testimonials, of positive feedback, but it's also worth to have a list of experiences you had with clients and reflecting on, okay, how can I spot that sooner? Because often when we go through the process of either typing it out in ClickUp or on Trello, on a Google document, or just handwriting it kind of sinks into our memory and we reflect on it. So definitely create a file of red flags specifically to your work, to your agency setting.
Yeah.
It really helps. Should I
And
take the final point on this slide
yeah,
then?
please go ahead.
Cool. So let's see. So, sorry, I have to laugh at this one. Making things sound too easy, right? So if a client is making things sound easy, they're either completely naive about what it takes to get the work done, or they're trying to trick you into doing more but pay less for it. Do you know the typical, oh, it's just a small change on that page. Oh, it's just a
15 minutes.
small
Yeah.
slider. When you hear these words, you usually know it's never as easy, right? Perhaps they don't have the right creative images for it, and when you start without any images and you have to create illustrations and icons yourself, which we all know takes a lot of time. Or they said to you they have like just easy kind of block to upload, and it turns out that actually their blocks are like 6,000 words and completely all over the place with formatting. So when someone says, oh, it's just so easy, just bear in mind that it really probably won't turn out to be just as easy. So always stick deep so that you can avoid scope creep, because that's really going to damage you later on if the project gets so much bigger.
Yes, and I think that this is you hit the nail right on the head, Nicole, because when clients frame something as being easy, or I just need a quick landing page, just throw in a landing page there, that's fine, and then you do it. You kind of if you comply to this and try to make it easy, it never ends there. It's just like okay, I also wanted it to look good, so how about we do this and we do that, and maybe you can find 5 images that we can include there, and searching for images on Shutterstock or Pexels, it takes hours.
Yeah.
So then a task that was supposed to be a quick, easy landing page becomes a project, really. So understanding from the beginning that you should have the process, and in the client telling you, I need a quick landing page, I already have a process of how to build a landing page, and it's not easy. It's gonna go deep to make sure that it's actually gonna be a landing page that works for you, that converts for you, that looks great, that actually works fast, loads properly, that is mobile responsive, that works on every single device, on the different browsers. All of these things take time, and because you have a process in place to make sure that something looks great, then you make sure that it's not easy, right?
Absolutely, and it mentions all the correct pain points, right? But it does it in the right order, because a landing page is never just a landing page. So yeah, I love that, having a process, and I'm sure Disha does the same. Disha, do you do the same when you take on social media clients, that you really dig deep into their audience and what it is that connects them to their community? Those kind of steps, which are really crucial, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's also these pointers are applicable across like not only clients but also social media management, community management. Like, what are the red flags in a community management? Who is that toxic community member who's just taking away the energy? Just red flags. Put a notebook of red flags for everything.
I love that. You brought in another good one here, Disha, which is basically the ones that are sucking the energy out of us.
Right.
These are the ones you want to stay away from, because a client that even a small client can just leave you so tired at the end of the day, even without doing much, just sending this one obnoxious email and have that stay with you. And we definitely had a couple of clients like that throughout the years, that you go to sleep like with this icky feeling. You shouldn't really, there's no justification for feeling like that.
Right.
So we have a few more. Not taking recommendations. So I'll take this one. Not taking recommendations. Of course, people have the right to disagree with you, but when it comes to the field that you are an expert in, and they are not, when they try to dictate what's right and wrong, then you want to run. And this is really, if you know what you're doing, you got to trust yourself. And I think that this comes a lot into what they call the imposter syndrome. Just making sure that you are confident in what you are doing, and even if you're not confident in what you're doing, really what you want to know is that you are 2 steps ahead of the person you are serving. And back in the day, I was a guitar teacher, and I used to I started teaching guitar when I was still in high school. So I was like a 15-year-old teaching a 13-year-old, and I taught them a lot. Just because I already was 2 years ahead of them, I had a lot of things to give to them. Of course, when I was 25 doing it, I had a lot more to give to youngsters. But still, when you're 15, you don't really have imposter syndrome. You don't think about this stuff. You just get things done. But as you get older, you start contemplating of all right, there's so many huge agencies out there. If I'm maybe I'm not right. Maybe they can go out and find the answer elsewhere with someone that has done this longer. But really, if you've done this once, twice, 3 times before, you're already more proficient than a client that is doing it for the first time. So you got to make sure that that sometimes that you can say no. we're not going to do this. We're we have to do that, and just making sure that even sometimes you're not making this sound like a recommendation, but as this is how it's done.
And I think when you state it like that, and you come across really confidently and enthusiastically, they're more likely to buy into that. It's often, when we have to watch our body language, sometimes when we don't feel so great about saying a certain thing, we sort of go a bit like this. But if you sort of look confident, you look them in the eye, you smile, it makes a huge difference.
I agree. Oh,
Yeah.
I went back to the other one. Yes. So then they tried to bargain for a better deal. So they're used to talking the way into a less expensive service provider because they assume since we are newer or smaller in size than some other agencies, then we should charge less. But really, that is never the case. So what I wouldn't say that is never the case. When you're starting off and you're setting up your pricing, then usually you're going to be undercharging. In most cases, we undervalue what we can accomplish. And so, you start off with a 500 pounds website, 1,000 pound website, and it takes some time until you get to the place where you're confident charging 5 grand, 10 grand, 50 grand for a website. But really, there are people out there that are charging $500,000 for some projects. I think there was even, I don't know if you remember, that was a couple of months ago, there was this project that they charged like a crazy amount, and eventually the website was completely scrapped. So really, it's what you want to keep in mind is that you want to charge what you feel comfortable plus 50%. Because if we're if we're pushing the envelope every time with what we can achieve, then you will be surprised how many people are just gonna say yes. And if not, if they are starting to bargain and say like, yeah, I can get it on Fiverr for 50 pounds, go ahead, get it on Fiverr and lose my number, right? I said that to a few people actually.
And then the last thing to always think is, they're lucky to get me and I'm choosing you as much as you're choosing me. Because that is true, isn't it? As agency owners, you want your team to be happy with projects they're working on. You don't want to have projects you have to have sleepless nights over and really worry about them. So definitely charge your worth and stick to this is what we charge because this is a transformation my agency can achieve for your business.
So I had a friend that I think it's a kind of a cool story around this about what are we worth? What is my worth? So I had a friend that he's doing, or I have a friend, he's doing he's a videographer or not really, like motion graphics designer, I think that's the term for what he does. Explainer videos and all of these kind of After Effects kind of related things. Very similar in concept to what we're doing as website builders. The process is a lot of times is very similar. And then he's charging though on a daily basis. So he's in this industry, it's very common to charge daily. And he asked me what should I charge daily? So I asked him, how much are you charging? He told me 250 pounds. I told him charge 350 pounds. He said, why? Because I told him that's what you should be charging after this and that years. I had no idea really, but I just knew that it was 100 pounds more than what he was asking. And he needed that push to go and ask for this amount. And he did it. He came back and he said, okay, I got the job, the 350 pounds. Okay, great. Next time, ask for 450. See what happens, So you want to keep pushing the envelope to make sure that you're always at the top of your game and always stretching your own limit when it comes to the amount that you can actually get from other people.
Absolutely, and regularly reviewing it, right? I think when we first start out, we often make a mistake that because we're lacking in confidence, we charge a relatively low rate. but then give yourself limits and increase your pricing again, and speak to a community like this, seek out for some support, because as Vita just said, it's often just confidence, just feeling it. And
Yes.
I always love helping people to charge more, because we do so much for our clients, and it's definitely worthwhile, like really feeling really confident with that.
I love it. Disha, maybe you can introduce the next point here.
Not good at what they do. Is that was the one, right? Not good at what they do.
Go for it.
Okay, I mean, yeah, as I said, I think it's all a teamwork, like when you are the subject matter expert, you're providing a service, but also you have to collaborate from both of the sides, from both the sides, like if a client is not good at what they do, doing your part in helping them building their business is going to be 100 times harder than it should be. Like if your client is, like, to say in regular terms, is dumb, if you cannot even convey the simplest thing to their heads and they're not getting what you're saying, it's on you to make them understand. The understanding part is also your task now. You're like adding tasks that shouldn't be your task. So that's a very good point, because when we choose clients, we already expect that they will understand things, but then you realize they don't. So when you do the initial talkings, that must be in your red flag notes as well, that if the client is intelligent or a dumb person. So it's as simple as that, because then you're gonna be like adding a task to yourself of explaining them over and over again, burning out your energy, just for the completion of a simple communication.
Yeah, and I think that you just want to be, we should be proud of what we're doing. We should kind of enjoy the day and wake up every morning with the sense of accomplishment that we're actually serving people that are doing something awesome, really. And I think service providers all over needs to have that mentality of pick and choosing the clients, not just based on I need the money or I need the project, but really I think that this is a great idea. And I had a bunch of I had to turn down a few clients that just had really bad ideas, really. And especially when it comes to websites. And we were doing a lot of during the later years of the agency, we're doing a lot of projects that were like kind of MVPs for startups, right? So people would come to us with ideas, would sign the NDA, whatever, and they would start telling us about their $1 billion idea, which was horrible, And you can see that it's not going to work. Like straight out of the gate, there's so many pitfalls in there, and they're just like they believe completely that it's gonna happen. Maybe I'm wrong, sometimes maybe I gave up on the Beatles, on signing on the Beatles, but I don't think so. In some of them. So you just want to make sure that what you're doing is you're serving companies that you are proud to be serving, and that you can grow together. Because if they go out of business, or if you launch a beautiful website for them and then nothing converts, then they're going to come to you, really, whether it's your fault or not.
Right. And if it's the opposite, if you've chosen the right clients, as they grow, you grow, and they can recommend you to other clients. They can grow what they do with you, maybe more SEO services, maybe upgrading their maintenance service, more design work. So it definitely pick the right clients and you will be happier agency owner. Just like George says, I have a rule. What did you say? I have a rule. Explain it like you would to a 12-year-old. George, I absolutely love it. It really helps being a parent. I often think, how do I explain personal branding to a 6-year-old? My son is 6. Love that tip. It's brilliant.
And when we started doing, before we had our daughter, we started doing like research around how to grow a baby. Really, it's kind of was a new experience for us. We ended up, so it started with a proper research, and then we ended up watching Super Nannies, like all day long.
I watch it. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, you know, so many things are just exactly like some of those clients, you know. And what I really, or some of my experience that I had with clients, it just so much resonated with me. I felt like one of those parents that the kid is just throwing feces on the walls, you know,
like a tantrum, and how you have to consistently share the same message, and just make sure that they listen back, and only just talk about one thing or two things. Yeah. I think it's a really good way of looking at it. And it's not disrespectful, it's just helping your clients to be better clients for you, right? So that you can do a more amazing job for them as an agency.
Yeah. Exactly. And taking from Super Nanny, like you have to be very clear on telling your clients what are going to be the consequences of their actions. It's a strategy from Super Nanny, but it fits so well. It fits so well. I mean, that women have been telling the parents, like, tell your children the consequences of their actions. They're not going to understand, but tell it every day, and one day they're going to understand. You know, so with the clients as well, it's so important. If you think their idea will not work, you let them know in plain words.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, one thing that I really kind of loved from that show, I don't know how we got to talk about
George, it was George saying about talking to clients like their kids. Thank you, George.
But really, one of the things is that she's not even training the kids; she's training the parents.
Parents, really.
Yeah. And so this is something that I kind of that I took from that, is that, you know, as the parent of the relationship, like we talked about in some of the first few points, you want to be the alpha of the relationship. You want to be the parent of that relationship. The training needs to be on you. The responsibility is on you. If the client doesn't accomplish something that was expected of them, then you should check yourself. Really, that's something that you know, a lot of parents just say, like, no, I have a demon child, you know, but I have a demon client. But really, if you structure things properly, you can steer them in the right direction and be that parent that creates structure for their kids.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Should I take the next one? So this one is really bad as well, actually. If you think about that, they're never satisfied. You know, have you ever had a client, right? No matter what you do or suggest, they never seem happy. Even if you've done exactly what they want, they still want to change it. And obviously that makes you, as the agency owner, as the service provider, feel like a complete failure, right? Or you double the amount of gray hair. So that is such a red flag, isn't it? And I know I had a client 2 years ago, and my God, you know, I always work with action takers. That's one of the things I learned in coaching. It's really important for me. People are willing to make changes. And she so wasn't. And no matter which option I suggested, she was still really, really unhappy. But it turned out it was her own mindset, and I couldn't help her with that. And it's kind of learning that, right, where your limits are. So if someone very early on, even when you sent them a proposal or you suggest a time to follow it up, if they question that too much and they say, oh no, I don't want a PowerPoint, I want you to talk me through it on a Loom, on a video, we have to meet in person, even though you know you could do this virtually, it's a real huge red flag. So definitely want to look out for.
I agree 100%, because this is, again, comes to the place where you want to work with people that value your work, that value you as the expert, as the person that is delivering value to their business. And if there is no exchange of value, really, it's only going to go down from there. So why even bother? You know, if they're not satisfied, and you know that you provided what you promised, then, you know, why continue down this route? So under this kind of point, I would like to ask, bring a question to to our viewers and listeners. Which red flags have stopped you from working with a client? So let's see. We have George here, and we have Carl, and we have 147 Dev, which I had a really cool conversation with Matt for 147 Dev just the other day. And we have Kevin here with us. So how about we start with you, Nicole? What would you add to this list?
the one thing I really need is someone who takes action, who's willing to take action. And I guess it's the same with a website project, right? Often people need to refine their messaging more. They need to really dig down deep what problem they're solving for their clients. And if you have someone who is not willing to take any action on that, it's a huge red flag. Because, I think building your business, no matter which sector you're in, is always about taking actions and also taking kind of actions which might be scary. And you have to be willing to do that with the right support, but, action takers. So for me, when I send someone that's just not willing to do that, it's a huge red flag, because it's not rewarding for me at all as a coach. And I'd imagine it's the same as an agency.
Yeah, that they actually want to be involved. That they want to do it.
Yeah.
And so, what would you say, Disha? Do you have any kind of note to bring to us about this? What would be your red flag, really, to add to the points that we talked about already?
As Nicole said, that's a very good point. Like, clients have to be responsible, not to just unload all the responsibilities on the other person's, on the agency's head. And also the important thing about a client which makes them a really good client is clearly stating their expectations in the beginning itself, rather than changing expectations or disapproving what you have been doing in the middle of the process. So clear expectations, clear deadlines, clear communications on everything. Communication, like clear communications, when the client have to make themselves understandable, like what are they looking for, what are the expectations, and also these are small technical small things, but if they are punctual in their responses, or they're responsive, like you ask a question and not like they're responding after like 2 days, and you have no answer. They have to be punctual and responsible. That's if they are not responsible, they are not responsive. That's one of the biggest red flags. It also causes so much anxiety to you, like what's happening, what's going on, why have they gone MIA, so punctuality. Punctuality is very important.
And you can spot that really early on, right? When you're trying to send them your Calendly link, let's say, to have that first initial call, discovery call, and they're not committing to any time, or they keep on changing it. That it's going to be something really challenging about working with them, because clearly they're not respecting your time. So I think, Disha, that's an amazing one to spot really early on. Thank you for sharing that.
I also, this is also one of my red flags when I'm interviewing now, so that when I send the Calendly link, if someone is telling me, let's do it now, or are you free in an hour, but I just laid out a process. I just asked you to click the button and choose the best time for you, really. So why would you even ask that? So like you straight away understand that there is no perception or respect to time. And I think this is a great point, Disha. And we have a good one here from George also, that is telling us, when I asked them to explain to me what makes them different from their competitors, and they can't really, they don't know what's the difference. So this is definitely something that you want to make sure that within your business. I think that this is a struggle that a lot of agency owners also have. I think you can even talk to that, Nicole, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Helping their clients to define their messaging, their identity. Actually, I sent time to talk a lot to Imogen Allen about that. She's got the WIF framework, which helps agency owners help their clients to define their identity. And it's really, really hard, right? But if you, as the agency owner, guide them through it, then in turn, you will have such much better content for a website. So yeah, it's a tricky one. And ask someone what makes you different. Do you know what I think what it is? We take our businesses for granted. It's it's very hard for us to define that, but we continuously have to do it. And perhaps, Vito, that's something you can put on in the future. How do clients define what makes them different? The process we need to go through, because we need to know as business owners, right? How else are we going to stand out in a crowded marketplace? I love that point from George. It's so true.
And then we have, so Carl is agreeing with you, Nicole. He's right on your face also. So I'm sorry about that.
I love Carl, working with Carl. He's brilliant. And he's a family man as well, He's,
yes.
And he oh my God, Vito, Carl wouldn't mind me saying this. Carl's got 15 guitars. How amazing is that?
Really? I didn't know. That's awesome. So Carl likes to make sure that the client is highly motivated and enthusiastic to make a change and keen to achieve great results. We've worked with too many people in the past who need far too much hand-holding, right? Too much time is taken chasing the client for information, right? And they just don't have the commitment. They don't have the drive really to make it in business. And running a business is hard, really. It's not for everyone. So if they can do something simple as sending an email back, or stick to a deadline on a payment schedule, or perform a simple task like booking a meeting, then how are they gonna do in business after the website exists?
Yeah.
What is gonna be the future of this thing? And I think that especially early on when you work with people that you're building their first websites, they don't understand how much goes into running a business, really. And yeah, so I like what you're saying. But on the other end, what I do agree is that if someone has drive and just has a really go for it kind of attitude, nothing will stop them. And that is really the only attitude that can help you succeed in business.
Absolutely. Just keep on going, right? Keep on pushing.
Yes. So we have another one before we're wrapping up from Kevin here. And all right, I'm just going to bring Carl here, just giving us this is most definitely where Atarim makes life a great deal easier. Thank you, Carl. So why not, being so we have Carl as a customer who is enjoying the value that we're bringing to his business. And this is exactly what we're talking about. These are the kind of people that we want to have more of within our business, but within your business as well. We're all growing together. We're all exchanging value all the time. So Kevin is telling us one red flag for me. Clients that want you to compete with other agencies' prices, right? I appreciate they want to get the best price, but straight off the bat, it seems like they don't have trust in your pricing and services. And you're basically being commoditized. I think that this is a big struggle for agencies nowadays. Nicole, you're working with as a consultant for agencies. Like, what would you say to agencies that this happens to them?
Yeah, it's so I've seen it internally working with big corporates like the Financial Times or Institute of Directors. When you, as a marketing executive, manager, or director, go out for a project, let's say like building a new website, and I've worked on projects anything from 500 to over 80,000, you are expected to bring in several proposals. It's good governance. So usually, you go to anything between 3 and 10 suppliers to come up with your short list. So there is, I can understand how this is so frustrating from the agency point of view. It is unfortunately the name of the game. So all I always say to my clients is, for every proposal where you really want the project, put something in there which shows your personality and why you are really suited to the project. Don't be afraid of going that extra mile. Try to figure out what you have in common. Let's, as an example, if it's a London-based company, you base up north in England and you love going to London, say something about that. When I come to London, I always go and have a look at this. Just something to give you that emotional connection. The reality is, there bigger companies and smaller companies, there will always be budget conscious, so I will have to compare. I think it's just really reality you operate in. But if you are the agency who listen best to the struggles they're going through, who really sort of, you might be facing that, perhaps you have a new marketing director and the priorities will change. This is how we manage that situation. Or, you want a new section and you haven't got any content. This is how we can help you get that content. Listen to their needs. show them how you can solve them and how you can solve them with enthusiasm and better than your competition. So Kevin, long answer. I totally hear your pain point there. I just know, unfortunately, from like the client point of view, they are asked to bring in several proposals.
Right. Okay, I have one more from Georgia. If they can't go on, this is a huge red flag, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, have clients who are willing to do that, right? Make their life easier. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have one from Matt here. When the first question is, how much do you charge, right? So when they don't really care about the what you can bring to your business, they just need it done, really. And you know what I found is that the people that I worked with, as you know, as a business owner, the people that I hire, the people that I the contractors or the suppliers that we work with, it really is never about the price. It's just about what is the result that they can get for our business. What is the kind of common ground that they manage to bring to me in this conversation. So definitely, like, if someone is starting with these questions, how much do you charge? They're not really looking for a professional. They're looking for a product. So what I would suggest, that they're not looking for a service, really. They're just looking for something off the shelf to get done. In this case, what I would suggest is having a product for it. So have a multi-site that you can have, like some kind of a small WAS. So if someone wants the $500, $1,000 website, sure, that's what you want. Here you go. Here are the keys. Go on, insert your content. When you're ready, we're charging you even not 500, or let's say 500 for the setup fee, then $50 a month, $80 a month, and go for it. You know, you're on your own if you want to do it like that. If you need my time, if you need my expertise, I'll be happy to do that, but that's a completely different ball game, and that is not a good question to start with for that process. Right. So I think that we're kind of we ran out of time, really, but I have a few more here from George. We need to be following a process, right? They need to be following your process. Following into a process they decide is one of the mistakes before Atarim. I agree, and you know, like, this is one of the things that our system tries to create for agencies and freelancers, because, you know, most of us, we are technicians, really. We are designers, we are developers, we are not project managers. When we get into this game, we don't have the perception of taking people through a flow to get to a desired result. We just know how to build a website, and we can do that for you. But really, the structured flow of accomplishing a project is something that reassures the other side that you know what you're doing. And our tool is really designed to be the flow, from gathering the content to approving the designs with the wireframes that we're giving, wireframe templates that we're giving to all the users, with these trainings, with these pieces of training that we're doing on a weekly basis. So thank you, George. And this is definitely something that is very important to me, and I'm happy that we managed to make this happen. So let's see if I can bring back. Oh, let's see. So for some reason, the screen just changed in there. So let me share my screen again.
Here we are.
Where is that? Share the screen. This guy. Okay. So as we're wrapping up, I just want to kind of, first of all, thank you, Disha. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us today. I also have a little announcement that the Page Builder Summit is starting in next week, which is an awesome summit by Nathan and Anchen. Both of them are supporters of our product, and now I'm very happy to be able to support them back by sponsoring the Page Builder Summit. 35 industry experts that are helping you build better websites faster. And this event was created specifically for people that build websites with WordPress using page builders, and they have a whole bunch of awesome people on there. So please make sure you check this out and you join that next week. And this is the sign up there really for free pagebuildersummit.com. Starts on the 10th of this month. So as we're wrapping up, Nicole, where can people find more about what you do?
Best place is my brand new website, wonderstars.com. I would love to welcome people there. Thank you.
Looks beautiful. So, sorry, what was the domain? How can people find it?
Wonderstars.com, my website. I host my blog there, all my contact details.
Okay, perfect. And Disha, I think people are going to be hearing a lot more of you all the upcoming weeks.
Sure.
So what are you excited about from joining Atarim, starting this process with us?
Well, for starters, if I have, I'm very, well, let me rephrase. I'm still educating myself on the technical aspects of Atarim and how WordPress, like website and everything, it's like a rocket science to me right now. But then what I'm confident about is growing a community that can rely on each other, not only on technical difficulties, but in general to really like unwind and share each other's problems and really like make an impact in each other's life. Because if we base only on the platform or only using software, we are growing technically, but we also have to grow as a community of users where we are solving each other's problems.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay.
Super
So
well said.
I'm excited for the process over the upcoming months and years. And thank you both for joining me. Have a great weekend, everyone that has been joining us on the broadcast. This is going to be available for replay inside the Facebook group, the Facebook page, and on our YouTube channel. And I'll see you in the Facebook group if you're not there yet.
Auf Wiedersehen.
See you. Bye bye.